Candyman. The movie opens with a scene set in 1977 within the confines of Cabrini Green, a notable area. Here, we encounter a young boy named William, immersed in play within his bedroom. His mother's voice breaks through his concentration, urging him to attend to the laundry. On his journey to complete this task, William encounters two policemen who are in urgent pursuit of a man named Sherman. Sherman is infamous for luring children with candies and instilling fear in their hearts. Despite their inquiries, William asserts he has not seen Sherman and continues to the laundry area. However, during his chore, he is startled by a figure emerging from an unexpected hole in the wall. This figure is none other than Sherman himself, who is easily recognizable by his hook hand and his offer of candy to William. This encounter terrifies William immensely, leading to an uncontrollable scream that quickly alerts the police. Many years later, we see Troy, accompanied by his friend Grady, visiting the home of Brianna, Troy's sister. Brianna shares her living space with her boyfriend, Anthony, a struggling artist desperately seeking inspiration for his work. Despite the shortcomings in Anthony's art, Brianna, in her capacity as an art director, always ensures he has opportunities to showcase his work. During their visit, Troy begins to recount a chilling urban legend associated with their neighborhood, Cabrini Green. This legend centers around a woman named Helen Lyle, a graduate student who once embarked on a research project about Cabrini Green. However, her story takes a dark turn as she inexplicably starts committing murders. Her rampage results in the abduction of a baby, followed by her appearance at an annual bonfire, intent on sacrificing the child. Helen is stopped by the crowd, who rescues the baby. In a harrowing end, Helen walks into the flames of the bonfire, submitting to the fire. This story deeply disturbs Anthony, who later verifies its authenticity through internet research. In the following days, Anthony presents his latest artwork to Clive, an art dealer. However, Clive remains unimpressed by Anthony's work, suggesting instead that he should explore themes reflecting the societal divide between black and white communities and the long-standing issue of white supremacy. Inspired, Anthony decides to base his new art piece on the history of the Cabrini Green housing projects. He delves into online research, uncovering various articles about the mysterious figure of Helen Lyle and the haunting legacy of Cabrini Green. As the story progresses, Anthony embarks on a journey to explore the depths of Cabrini Green's haunting history. His adventure leads him to an old, almost mystical church within Cabrini Green, where an unexpected bee sting occurs while he's capturing the scene with his camera. Undeterred, Anthony ventures into a desolate section of Cabrini Green, where he stumbles upon an abandoned house. Inside, he discovers unsettling images depicting a man, compelling him to take photographs. As he navigates the creepily quiet neighborhood during his exploration, Anthony crosses paths with William, the same individual we were introduced to as a child. William is the proprietor of a laundromat in the area. In a twist of fate, Anthony is invited inside the laundromat, where William shares his insights about Helen Lyle's search for the Candyman. According to William, Helen's quest led her to Sherman, the infamous Candyman characterized by his hook hand and his reputation for distributing candy to local children. William recounts a chilling incident from one October where a razor blade was found in a young girl's Halloween candy. The police immediately suspect Sherman and launch a manhunt, however. Sherman vanishes without a trace. William vividly describes his own childhood encounter with Sherman, which ended in a horrifying scene where a group of police officers, upon hearing William's screams, storm into the room and fatally injure Sherman. Tragically, The appearance of more razor blades in candies weeks later proves Sherman's innocence. William firmly believes that Sherman's death was not the end of his presence in the neighborhood. Feeling deeply moved by Sherman's tragic story, Anthony channels this inspiration into a painting. This artwork, depicting Sherman's death at the hands of the police, is later shown to Brianna. She finds the image disturbing, expressing the pain it evokes. Anthony then shares with her the legend of Candyman, claiming that saying his name 5 times in front of a mirror will summon him to commit murder. In a light-hearted moment, Anthony playfully encourages Brianna to test the legend, but she, not fully believing yet still cautious, refuses to risk invoking any supernatural entities. Anthony, in a teasing manner, begins the Candyman chant, only to be stopped by Brianna, who half-jokingly scolds him for his foolishness. The narrative takes us to the next day, where Anthony's art project is unveiled at an art show in Clive's gallery. His paintings are strategically displayed behind a vanity mirror, accompanied by a provocative text that dares viewers to utter the name Candyman 5 times. During the show, Anthony attempts to explain his artistic vision to Finley, an art critic who remains distinctly unimpressed by his work. The evening escalates when Anthony, intoxicated, finds himself involved in a heated argument with some attendees who insinuate his success is solely due to Brianna's influence. The night concludes with Clive and his girlfriend, Jerica, tidying up the gallery amidst a clutter of beer bottles and the remnants of the event. Clive is visibly frustrated, not only with Anthony's disruptive behavior but also with Brianna, whom he believes should have better managed the situation. The story continues with Jerica attempting to alleviate Clive's frustration. In a light-hearted yet ill-fated moment, Jerica playfully chants Candyman 5 times while looking into a mirror. To their horror, the urban legend proves to be terrifyingly real as Candyman materializes in the mirror like a ghastly reflection. In a shocking turn of events, Candyman viciously attacks, slitting Jerica's throat and then turning on Clive. Despite his desperate attempts to escape, Clive too falls victim. The gruesome scene ends with Candyman meticulously positioning their bodies. Lifeless bodies lay next to each other, a horrifying act beside Anthony's art piece. The following day unfolds with a grim discovery. Brianna walks into the office, only to be greeted by the horrific sight of Clive and Jer's dead bodies, starkly posed against the backdrop of Anthony's artwork. She immediately alerts the police, and soon the news spreads like wildfire. Anthony, watching television, hears his art and name being mentioned in connection with the gruesome murders. A twisted sense of satisfaction washes over him as he relishes the fame his work has gained. That night, the narrative delves into the depths of Brianna's psyche as she experiences a hauntingly vivid nightmare about her father's self-inflicted death. In her dream, a young Brianna approaches her father, who is poised precariously at the edge of a window. The nightmare abruptly ends, only for Brianna to awaken to another chilling vision, the reflection of Sherman staring back at her from the mirror. Realizing it was a nightmare within a nightmare, she rushes to the bathroom, where she finds Anthony visibly shaken, washing his hands. The bee sting causes evident distress. He mentions having a bad dream, but offers no further details, leaving Brianna in a state of uneasy concern. The next day, Anthony visits the school library where Helen graduated, intent on exploring her camera and audio files. However, his visit is interrupted by a disturbing realization: the infection from the bee sting has spread alarmingly. The elevator he is in malfunctions, and a sinister piece of candy drops to the floor, hiding a razor blade reminiscent of the tail from the little girl's case. Anthony's reflection in the elevator mirror morphs into Sherman's, sending him into a state of shock just before the lights go out. When the elevator doors finally open, Anthony, unnerved and disoriented, quickly exits, leaving the puzzled students behind. In the days that follow, Anthony's obsession with Candyman deepens as he creates more disturbing artwork, all while the infection spreads further through his body. One night, he encounters Finley, who candidly admits her interest in his work is ignited by the fame it gained post-murders. Anthony passionately speaks about Cabrini Green, urging her to understand his work by taking on the challenge of saying Candyman 5 times in the mirror. Although skeptical, Finley accepts the challenge alone. Anthony's reflection in the mirror horrifyingly transforms into Candyman, resembling Sherman. This jolting vision snaps back to reality when Finley calls out to him. Spooked, Anthony hastily leaves the apartment, but as he departs, a gruesome scene unfolds. Candyman emerges and savagely murders Finley, her blood smeared across the window in a grotesque display. Anthony then visits William, who reveals a chilling history. Candyman is not just a singular entity, but represents a collective of individuals who suffered extreme racial injustice. William recounts the story of Daniel, a black man in the 1890s who worked as a portrait artist. Daniel's life took a tragic turn when he fell in love with a factory owner's daughter and fathered her child. This relationship led to a brutal mob attack where Daniel was attacked and covered in honeycomb to attract bees. Bees stung Daniel and ultimately burned him alive. His horrific end marked the inception of Candyman, a vengeful spirit embodying the pain and suffering of others like Bale, Samuel, and Sherman, who are also victims of racial violence. William explains that the bee sting Anthony received is symbolically linked to Candyman's own torment. Meanwhile, at home, Brianna discovers Anthony's disturbing drawings. Anthony arrives and hastily covers them, urging her not to look. He tries to explain his regret over invoking Candyman, but Brianna dismisses his fears as delusional. In an attempt to prove the legend false, Brianna begins to say Candyman in front of a mirror. However, Anthony, in a state of panic, smashes the mirror to prevent her from completing the chant. Frightened by his actions, Brianna seeks refuge at her brother Troy's house, where Troy suggests that she may need to distance herself from Anthony. As days pass, Anthony's condition worsens. The infection spreads to his neck and face. He decides to seek medical help and learns at the hospital that he was actually born in Cabrini Green, contradicting his mother's claims of a South Side birth. Confronting his mother, Marie, Anthony learns the truth about his past. Marie reveals that Helen Lyle didn't kidnap him out of madness, but rather to save him from Candyman, who intended to claim Anthony in a ritual fire. Helen's actions led to Anthony's safe return to Marie, and the community vowed silence about Candyman, hoping to end his reign of terror. Drawn to Cabrini Green, Anthony enters a house with flashing lights while Brianna and Troy, concerned about his whereabouts, head to Brianna's apartment. Brianna's search leads her to William's laundromat, where she finds Anthony's hat and is suddenly abducted by William. In a revealing flashback, we see a young William witnessing Sherman as Candyman brutally murder his sister and her friend, indicating William's awareness of Sherman's true nature. Brianna awakens tied up in a church, where William fabricates a police report implicating Anthony as a murderer. William reveals his belief that Candyman is necessary to address the deeper-rooted corruption of Cabrini Green. He then gruesomely transforms Anthony into Candyman by amputating his hand, attaching a hook, and dressing him in the signature coat. However, Brianna manages to escape and fatally wounds William in self-defense. As the police arrive, they fatally shoot Anthony without questioning the situation, completing his tragic transformation into another victim of racial injustice and a new embodiment of Candyman. Brianna is handcuffed and threatened by a corrupt officer to either comply with a false narrative or face wrongful imprisonment. Realizing the depth of the systemic injustice, Brianna agrees to the officer's terms, but first requests to look in the rearview mirror. She chants Candyman 5 times, summoning Anthony's spirit, who then exacts vengeance on the officers. As the movie reaches its climax, Anthony's face transforms into Daniel's amid a swarm of bees. Brianna exits the police car and encounters Daniel in an alley as more police converge on the scene. The film concludes with Daniel instructing Brianna to spread the truth about Candyman, leaving us to ponder the ongoing cycle of injustice and the power of narrative to challenge it. Did this story spook you out? Let us know in the comments below. For more horror movie recaps, subscribe to our channel, and we will see you in the next one. Fear awaits.